There's only one way to create a new vehicle, and that is to right click and go for the new vehicle option. At the top there you've got vehicle name, which needs to be unique and again can't be reused, and then a status, so your new vehicle will probably be active. You can color code your vehicles in the same way that you can color code drivers, so you might want to use that for a certain class of vehicle, maybe the number of seats, maybe an executive or whatever. You can, if you're on a multi-fleet system, assign this vehicle to a particular fleet. So I'm going to do that and add that to my Able Taxis fleet. These are basically just simple forms to fill in, simple fields to fill in. But if you do have the DVLA checker, you'll have a box here, a search button. So if I type in the reg of a vehicle and click search, after a few seconds it will then pre-fill all of the details for me, and it also adds the tax and MOT documents if they're known, and it gets those from the government website. If you're using license tracking, license authority tracking, you'll also be able to choose the licensing authority under which this vehicle is registered. So I'm just going to choose the Cambridge one on that, and I'm going to go through to my next tab, which is the PDA tab. And on here you've just got a simple number of check options that can activate features that are associated with the driver's app. So for example, if you have a hardware fare meter, you'd be ticking these options to connect to the Bluetooth box. The flag down button will show you an option on the driver's app to be able to do a street hire, and if you have that option, you'll also be able to automatically convert the street hire jobs to make them actually jobs on your system. Otherwise, with that ticked, the driver can do a street hire job and there'll be absolutely no record of that on your system. If you're using the software fare meter, usually you buy a number of licenses and you can choose which vehicles consume those licenses for the software fare meter here. And these are basically hardware connections, so you can switch those on or off. Similar to driver documents and PA documents, the vehicle documents allow you to add a series of document templates that you can track. So if you want to add a new one, you simply click the new button and then choose the document type that you want to record. And you'll see here some of this is pre-configured for you. So this has got a 14-day reminder period. In this instance, I don't think there is a document value I need to record. If you've got a little star next to that, it would say you've got to type something in there. You've got the option for a start and an expiry date, and you can see that the star next to that means that the expiry date is mandatory, so I do need to put one in. Now if I'm just reading that off a paper document, I can do that here. It might be though that the driver has emailed that document and given me something to look at electronically, or he's done it through the portal, the driver document portal. So in that case, it would have appeared automatically if the driver had done it, but if he'd emailed it to you out of band, then we could go into your local hard disk where you've saved that document, and then you can download that. I've just got some random documents here, I'll use that one. And if I need to, I can view that document through here. And if I'm happy with that, I can close that window and I can approve it. Or if not, I can say I'm going to reject that and say you've uploaded the wrong document, or it's out of date, or whatever the reason is. And by default, this kind of document would be tracked anyway, but if it's not, you've got the option to track expiry here. And you just need to add as many documents as you need. If you're using some kind of templating system, then you might already have the documents available for you here. They might be specified by a template. That's something that we're building in, and it might be ready at the point of when you're using the system. The vehicle attributes are basically something that a person or a passenger might request. So typically we model the number of passengers by the vehicle attribute, but the vehicle attribute might also describe the type of vehicle. So you can see here we've got some to represent a saloon or a state. And then you've got other things that might be asked for, like, for example, a baby seat. Some of these other options that you can see aren't actually linked to the vehicle. They're to do with pricing, and it might be that you just need to add those to every single vehicle. That is just a quirk of the way that we do pricing. So if we set up a particular charge that's linked to an attribute, even though it might not be vehicle specific, something like an airport pickup charge, it would need to be added to every single vehicle. You'll only see this tab, the restrictions tab, if you are on the soft merger gateway. And basically you can assign which vehicles are going to do pull work or soft merge work, and you do that by ticking this box. So on the main list of vehicles, there are some useful right-click options as well. So I can, like most of our screens, I can click one individual vehicle. I can shift click, so with the first one clicked, I can then press the shift key and click and select a block, or I can select the first one and then press the control key on the keypad, and then I can select like random selection. So once I've made my selection, I can use the right click menu, and there are a couple of useful things here. So first one is vehicle properties. We talked about vehicle attributes, so this is how you can set vehicle attributes for all or a bunch of vehicles at a time. You'll see there's a sort of a strange block there in these checkboxes. So what happens is if I've got multiple vehicles selected and I'm using this tool, when I click one of them, if I've got a tick means that all of the selected vehicles have now got that attribute. If it's a block or a square, it means only some of them have got that attribute. So before I selected these vehicles, some of them already had the delivery attribute. So you can see here a number of attributes are already selected on some of the vehicles here. If I wanted to untick one of these partially selected ones, I could just click it until it disappears, and that means that all of the selected vehicles now will have way to return deselected. Going back to the other right click options, you've got the option to print a summary sheet, which is very similar to what you're looking at now with all of the columns visible. I can change the fleet for the selected vehicles, which just gives me the option to get all of them in one go, and I can choose a fleet there. And then I've got some options for vehicle licensing at the bottom here. So lock down the selected vehicle to the driver app, and unauthorized vehicle are to do with licensing. So the first one is for fleets that use the older style of assigning a phone to a car. The phone stays in the car and the drivers share the phone. So what that basically does is allows you to assign a phone to a vehicle, and that phone belongs to the vehicle instead of the newer model, which is that the drivers bring their own device. Unauthorized vehicle is how we license the vehicles. So when a driver first signs onto a vehicle, it consumes one of the licenses in your tally. If you need to release a license because maybe that vehicle's left your fleet and no longer works anymore, and you want to use that license with another vehicle, you could just go to the unauthorized vehicle option, you click that, and that will now release the license associated with that vehicle.